Balloon 8-1, Landing and Recovery. Today, our aeronautical journey takes us into the fascinating world of balloon landings, a realm where diversity and unpredictability reign supreme. No other aircraft boasts such a varied array of landings as the humble balloon. Each descent, a unique spectacle unto itself, unveils distinctive characteristics, making every landing an individual narrative. As we delve into the intricacies of balloon landings, it is paramount to underscore that the paramount concern lies in the safety of both the pilot and passengers. While considerations such as accessibility, ease of recovery, and potential damage to the balloon hold significance, they must invariably yield to the unassailable fact that the prevention of injury to occupants stands as the primary objective for every balloon pilot. The statistics from aviation mishaps are telling. The landing sequence emerges as the phase of flight where injuries most frequently occur. This reality underscores the critical importance of understanding and mastering the art of balloon landings. Let us focus our attention on the approach, a pivotal phase in the descent that demands finesse and skill. An axiom entrenched in ballooning philosophy asserts that the best altitude for landing is the lowest altitude. This seemingly simple statement conceals profound wisdom. Landing from a mere foot above the ground may be within the reach of anyone, but it takes true skill to execute a landing from 100 feet aloft. Conventional wisdom has categorized three types of approaches in ballooning: the stair-step, straight line, and steep approaches, as elucidated in Chapter 7, In-Flight Maneuvers. However, in practical terms, the stair-step and straight-line approaches converge into what we define as a controlled approach. The steep approach, previously discussed as an accelerated approach, stands as a distinct entity. It is imperative to recognize that any approach, be it stair-step, straight line, or steep, is essentially a variation of either a controlled or an accelerated approach. Intriguingly, the approach transpires in two planes or dimensions, an aspect often overlooked by newer or less experienced pilots. While vertical considerations are intuitive, the horizontal plane equally demands attention. The visual aid illustrates the conventional perception of a balloon's approach, a predominantly vertical perspective. However, it unveils a broader understanding where the pilot, armed with enhanced situational awareness, comprehends the horizontal component, thereby expanding the array of options available during the approach. We dissect the vertical profile of the landing, referred to as a natural descent profile. This profile enables the pilot to envision a gradual descent aligning with the chosen landing site. The nuanced decision-making process involves factors such as wind conditions and the nature of the landing site, determining whether a shallow or low-profile approach from point A or a more aggressive approach from point B is appropriate. Consider a scenario where the winds, fuel levels, and terrain characteristics dictate the landing approach. Visualize flying at 700 feet AGL with the intention to land. Assessing the winds and surroundings, the pilot anticipates a leftward turn during descent, necessitating careful planning and control. The narrative unfolds, revealing the importance of constant vigilance, scanning in all directions, and avoiding target fixation that might obscure potential hazards. In the final moments of our aerial exploration, let us ponder a hypothetical landing scenario. The judicious pilot, armed with a thorough understanding of the terrain, wind patterns, and available fuel, orchestrates a landing on a dirt road with meticulous precision. Meanwhile, a less prepared counterpart, unaware of ground-level wind variations and neglectful of power lines, finds themselves scrambling at 600 feet, desperately seeking an alternative landing site. This narrative serves as a poignant reminder of the intricate dance between preparation and chance in the realm of balloon landings. As we conclude this discourse, I implore you to reflect upon the dynamic interplay of factors that govern the delicate ballet of a balloon's descent. May this contemplation kindle an appreciation for the artistry inherent in every balloon landing, where the pilot, akin to a maestro, orchestrates a symphony of variables to ensure a safe and graceful touchdown. As we delve further into the intricate realm of balloon landings, let us now turn our attention to the step-down approach, an approach method characterized by varying descent rates. This strategic procedure serves a dual purpose. Firstly, to ascertain lower-level wind velocities and directions, and secondly, to explore available options until the commencement of the final descent phase leading to the much-anticipated landing. It's worth noting that alternative methods, such as dropping strips of paper or small balloons, can also be employed to assess lower-level wind conditions. While the step-down approach allows for the adjustment of descent paths, It is crucial to exercise caution and avoid prolonged level flight segments below minimum safe altitudes without a clear intent to land. Prolonged level flight at low altitudes may mislead observers into believing that the pilot has abandoned the approach, establishing level flight at altitudes deemed unsafe. Moving on to the second type of approach, the low approach. This method involves flying the balloon at a low or shallow altitude, particularly in scenarios where no obstacles obstruct the path to the proposed landing site. Conducting a low approach offers the pilot an opportunity to assess wind conditions in close proximity to the surface, enhancing control and facilitating a smoother landing. This approach is particularly suitable for open areas with an expansive field of view and minimal obstacles. Now let's turn our attention to a crucial consideration in balloon landings: obstacles and approach angles. Prudent balloon pilots recognize that most viable landing areas are confined and often host obstacles in close proximity. The classic approach entails guiding the balloon at a descent angle that clears the highest obstacle along its path to the intended landing site. However, should the balloon descend below this angle, swift adjustments become imperative to avoid colliding with the obstacle's apex. It is important to highlight that attempting to clear an obstacle by a narrow margin may lead to over-controlling or necessitate excessive burns and vents. This delicate balance between obstacle avoidance and maintaining a controlled descent underscores the precision and finesse required in the art of balloon piloting. As we navigate through these nuanced approaches and considerations, let us appreciate the meticulous choreography involved in executing a safe and controlled descent. Balloon pilots, akin to skilled conductors, orchestrate a symphony of maneuvers to ensure a graceful landing amidst the challenges posed by varied wind conditions and potential obstacles. As our journey through the fascinating intricacies of balloon landings unfolds, let us now shift our focus to the insightful step-down approach. This method introduces the concept of varying descent rates, offering a strategic tool for discerning lower-level wind velocities and directions. Its utility extends to the careful consideration of options available to the pilot until the commencement of the final descent phase leading to a safe landing. Now let's delve into an integral aspect of this approach, the low approach. This technique involves flying the balloon at a lower or shallower altitude, providing the pilot with a closer assessment of wind conditions near the surface. Especially applicable in open areas with expansive visibility and minimal obstacles, the low approach enhances control and facilitates smoother landings. Our journey takes us further into the nuanced realm of obstacles and approach angles. This picture illustrates an approach where the pilot aims to clear an obstacle at a minimal distance. However, any over-control beyond a certain point may risk missing the intended landing area. Inexperienced pilots may find themselves forced to seek an alternative landing site, or, if they manage the landing, face an undesirably hard landing. This approach, while beneficial for maintaining focus on the intended landing area, demands precision to avoid potential over-control issues. We encounter a similar vertical profile with subtle yet significant differences. The pilot in this scenario aims for a point above the obstacle, ensuring safe clearance. This strategic adjustment minimizes the risk of over-controlling, significantly enhancing the chances of a successful landing. It emphasizes the importance of careful evaluation before committing to the landing. To summarize, when an obstacle stands between the balloon and the landing site, three safe choices present themselves: providing the obstacle with appropriate clearance and descending from altitude, rejecting the landing and seeking an alternative site, or executing a low approach to the obstacle, flying over it with ample room, and then proceeding with the landing. The first choice, while the most challenging, involves a high approach followed by a rapid descent at low altitude. The second choice, more conservative, may not be viable if the pilot is approaching the final landing site. The third choice, flying at low altitude toward the site, allows for surface wind checks, with the added safety of ascending before clearing the obstacle. Transitioning to some fundamental rules of landing, a balloon pilot should prioritize the suitability, safety, legality, and courtesy of the landing site. Early planning, free from distractions, is crucial, ensuring sufficient fuel for multiple landing attempts if needed. The ideal landing site exceeds the balloon's requirements and offers alternatives, optimizing the chances of a successful landing. In the context of congested areas, a pilot must exercise caution to avoid falsely being accused of low flying. Balancing the choices outlined by regulations, the pilot can either ascend to a legal altitude for another attempt or, if confident in the wind, stay low for an extended period to reach an alternative site. encapsulates the essence of a skillfully executed landing, a spectacle to be observed and appreciated in the intricate dance between pilot and balloon.